our community safety structures and all protocol observed, not forgetting abefundisi. I will take very few minutes to present the resolutions of the Crime Summit, the Provincial Crime Prevention Summit, which was as a result of the Executive Council Lekgotla resolution, which decided that the province, through the JCPS cluster, should host a Provincial Crime Prevention Summit before the end of June 2022. So the summit was held on the 3rd and the 4th of June, which aimed to identify the causal factors of crime and how to address them. I'll be very brief. I wanted to highlight that the summit was attended by a number of stakeholders, senior officials, which included the Minister of Police on the second day. Iya move lapha, what I move like me. Yabona manje. Sekuyilento ke manje. Okay, the commissions, the cluster had the summit had 5 commissions, which speaks to active public and community participation as commission number 1. I hope the colleagues are able to read there. In the interest of time, I won't be able to go into issues that were deliberated upon. We're going to work on Commission 1. Commission 2 was dealing with the effectiveness of the criminal justice system. Commission 3, ukuthi siqinisa kanjani ubudlelwane phakathi kwe-public ne-private sector ukupreventa i-crime nokuthi sithuthukise ubudlelwane, I mean i-community safety, ukuphepha komphakathi emphakathini. Commission 4 was dealing with the effective and integrated service delivery for communities ukupreventa i-crime and violence. And the last one was improving rural and farm safety. Just briefly, we wanted to highlight the issues which were touched upon by various speeches or speakers that were were in the plenary on that day. If you look at the issues that they touched on, they were talking about the collaboration, collective responsibility of each and every individual, and finding the causes of the crime, and how to respond on the issues of crime. And they were talking of everything that has been alluded to by the speakers that spoke before me, and also developing strategies, collective strategies that will address crime, working with all the stakeholders, including the families and the rural communities. The resolutions, the stakeholders committed to the deliverables of the resolutions, that they took a resolution that they will categorize the resolutions in line with the integrated crime and violence prevention strategy, which speaks to these 6 pillars, which is an effective criminal justice system, early intervention to prevent crime and violence and promote safety. The third one of victim support, effective and integrated service delivery for community and the prevention of crime and violence. Safety through environmental design and active public and community participation. They thereafter developed 9 resolutions in total, which were grouped as such. There is a first resolution which has got key activities or action plans that they committed themselves to implement. The first resolution was the use of an integrated approach to building a safer KwaZulu-Natal, where state entities and the private sector collaborate to address crime. There's quite a number of key actions that needs to be undertaken under that resolution. like conducting multidisciplinary crime prevention operations, social crime prevention operations to reduce the levels of crime, increasing traffic law enforcement, traffic law compliance to address crime associated with the transport industry, addressing the killing of traditional leaders, creating and implementing a coordinated and a more effective and integrated rural safety strategy, and collaborating with local communities and other organizations to address crime. Initiate effective juvenile or youth programs to discourage youth from becoming offenders. Hold crime awareness programs in the crime hotspots. Reduce the opportunity for crime through environmental design and technology. And resolution number 2, and those were the key actions that falls under resolution 1. And the second resolution was the successful prevention and reduction of substance abuse as a driver of crime and violence by increasing the number of rehabilitation programs that are available and awareness programs on the effects of drugs. The third resolution was to implement law enforcement initiatives to address substance abuse and related crime by the review and amending of current legislation and conducting integrated operations. The fourth one was reducing the number of licensed and unlicensed firearms in circulation by addressing challenges in the enforcement of the Firearm Control Act by reviewing and amending the existing legislations. And the fifth one, understanding and addressing the root causes of crime and violence through evidence-based policing supported by research and collaboration with academia. The sixth one was creating a more efficient and effective collaborative criminal justice system. Improve socio-economic conditions that has got an impact on crime, implementing education and training programs focused on victim-centered services and gender-sensitive training. And the last one was to ensure the successful implementation of a rehabilitation and reintegration program of the offender to prevent reoffending. I must state, ladies and gentlemen, that to date, we've had quite a number of progress that we have done. And I must also highlight that because the resolutions are too long, they actually selected a few to implement and measure within a short period of time. There is an implementation plan which is in place that is being implemented in an integrated format by all the JCPS cluster departments. In the interest of time, we felt that we may not give you the implementation plan because it's quite a tedious process, a tedious document, which is very, very busy if you look at it. The commitments that were made after the resolution were tabled to the provincial executive as they had instructed. As part of the implementation plan and in line with the integrated crime and violence strategy, the province shall adopt the integrated crime and violence strategy of 2022, adopt the resolutions of the Provincial Crime and Prevention Summit that was held on the 3rd and 4th, develop the KwaZulu-Natal crime strategy guided by national strategy and informed by inputs from the Provincial Crime Prevention Summit and resolutions thereof. And we also committed that we'll resuscitate the Council Against Crime to work with the JCPS cluster in pursuit of the Executive Council's program of action against crime in the province and the implementation of the summit resolutions. Those were the commitments that were made by the JCPS cluster as presented to the provincial executive. As I have mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, the JCPS cluster, which is led by the Department of Community Safety, is just the lead, but this is the work, the collective work of all the JCPS cluster departments. May I zoom into Izimbizo responses, colleagues, briefly? On the 7th, we know that the minister was here in Durban. On the 7th of October, the minister with the entire JCPS cluster and eThekwini municipality and the structures within eThekwini and traditional leaders held an Imbizo 18 at Dr. J.L. Dube Sports Field, where issues of crime were raised. It was noted that the community is not happy with the level of crime at Inanda specifically. Amongst the issues raised is the lack of the well-resourced satellite station at Amawoti. They also raised the concern about the escalating levels of gender-based violence as well. There was also a stakeholders meeting that was held at Marian Hill, where the ministers of police as well as Department of Public Works had a meeting with the members of parliament from the National Assembly, whose constituency is within Marian Hill. They had engagements to address the issues of resources for Marian Hill Police Station. To date, the progress is that the technical task team was established to work with the Department of Public Works at a national level in line with the SCM led by the Lieutenant General from the National SAPS to ensure that the resources that were identified are actually given priority. But over and above that, it was a matter of ensuring that there is communication that is unfolding in terms of finding the land that will be suitable for the building of the new building in that area. So the task team is in progress dealing with that. There was second Imbizo that was held at Umlazi on the 8th of October, on the very same day. Same thing was raised, the issues of violence, of crime, escalating levels of crime. There was also another engagement with the ministers on the 9th at Kwatabega, at Claremont, which falls under Kwatabega Policing Precinct. The provincial government, working with SAPS and the Teguni municipality, has made progress in response to some of the issues that were raised. It's not all the issues that were raised during these engagements that have been addressed. But I must inform the meeting that Amawoti Satellite Station have been revamped, and this will be providing more services to the community of Inanda in recent times. The Civilian Secretariat for Police Service, in collaboration with SAPS at a district level, Metropolis, Safer Cities and Community Safety Liaison, embarked on a community safety campaign and empowerment in KwaZulu-Natal, focusing on school safety, contact crimes, case closed, case opened campaign. And this campaign focused on the monitoring and evaluation of the overall performance of Ntuzuma, Newlands East, KwaMashu, Inanda, and Kwatabega SAPS. On the 15th, there was a school safety dialogue, which was targeting 20 schools that were coming from these policing precincts. As we have mentioned that school safety was also the issue. We all know that the substance abuse in school, the bullying in schools, the stabbing in schools is quite high happening in our surroundings. So the schools were requested to dialogue. We had more than 200 schools from these various schools within these stations, which were dialoguing, and they actually developed strategies, intervention strategies, which will be consolidated. There was also an installation working of alarm systems, working with the Memeza device community safety. They have installed alarm devices which are actually linking, as the part of eradication of crime, linking the school, especially the problematic schools, linking it with the law enforcement within that area, as well as the principal, which will serve as an early warning in case of burglaries or robberies. On the 16th, there was a visit to churches to create awareness on the gender-based violence, where we were discussing about the ministerial 6-point plan. This was followed by the Sober Sundays, where we visited taverns, as we have alluded. So the speakers that were here did allude that some of the causal factors to crime is the abuse of alcohol and other related substances. So we visited taverns within Inanda and Claremont, where we were monitoring the compliance with Liquor Act and the bylaws. And I must mention that we had quite a number of people that were charged in contravention of these legislations. On the 17th, we had this big campaign, which is case closed, case opened campaign, which was actually talking to the communities to say, let them come forward and get feedback from the police on the cases that were opened or closed and did not get any information on the progress of their cases. It focused on monitoring and evaluation of the overall performance of Ntuzuma, Newlands, Nanda, Kwatabega, as well as Gama, because it's a close by station. This comprised of the team from KZN Community Safety, which collaborated with the National Monitoring and Evaluation Team, as well as SAPS VISPOL, support and detectives to attend and analyze domestic violence cases where the CARES system was utilized to check the progress of cases that are still under investigation and the results of the closed cases to reinstate them where necessary. The community was invited through media, broadly advertised through media, electronic media. We had quite a number of slots on the radios whereby we were inviting the community to come forward and check the status of their cases so that we are able to intervene. On the 18th, we had the cordial relations dialogue between men, women, and the LGBTQI sector, including disabled persons, where they were dialoguing about the issues of crime that affects them. I must mention that the multidisciplinary team has developed an implementation plan, and all the programs will be replicated to all stations within eThekwini municipality in the 2022-2023 financial year. There is an implementation plan that we are busy fine-tuning to make sure that we replicate all of this. On the issues that were raised at Umlazi, some interventions have started to unfold. Just recently, we've had the involvement of Santaco and eThekwini Transport Authority in empowering the community safety structures to effectively deal with prevalent crimes in Greater Umlazi, working with 11 taxi associations, volunteers from eThekwini and community safety and liaison, as well as councillors. This is the intervention which will also see our local businesses putting a hand in ensuring that our community safety structures are actually equipped with the most needed resources to work effectively in preventing crime in their respective areas. And we have also engaged these structures to institutions to actually devolve this program in all the areas of eThekwini municipality. Ngiyabonga, Sihlalo.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mbongwe, for that presentation on resolutions and responses from Ms. Mbizo, Provincial Crime Summit as well. The next presentation will be by both SAPS and Metropolis, Deputy Commissioner Mchunu and Brigadier Cele. I'm not sure if they want to toss a coin to decide on who starts, or Brigadier Cele would start. Over to you. They are going to be talking about the 6-point plan, crime prevention strategy, and the smart policing technologies. Over to you, Brigadier.
Good afternoon, Program Director, the Honorable Mayor in his absence, all the senior officers from the SAPS, Major General Matonzi from the head office, with your delegates. Thank you for coming and arrest us on this situation in all the times. And I must greet all the necessary other departments with their office. I must just say protocol observed. I have been covered with most of the things, but because when Major General Matons was giving the presentation. I shouldn't have given the present after him. That is the protocol that we should have done in the SAPS. I shouldn't have spoken after he has spoken. But for the fact that I have requested permission from him to just to elaborate on some few things, let me rectify this statement. I have listened to all the stakeholders that have given the presentations, starting from the Majesty Mayor about the resources, and then also Major Matonsi, as well as Dr. Machukwana. In terms of the top 30 stations, let me explain to the whole House. We will still have some stations that will fall under top 30 stations in these 9 provinces. It is not about the crime reduction, it is about the volume of the cases that they received. When we look at Durban Central, the cases that they are reporting, that means there's still a confidence by the community to the police when you see they are reporting crimes. There will be certain times where you will see the stations, they are hiding crime and we find the crime is too low. I'm not trying to defend the SAPS today, but I want to explain to some people that they will, because we are the heaviest stations in the world, in the country, because when you look at Mitchell's Plain in Western Cape is just the size of Durban Central. When you look at Inyanga in Western Cape, it is the size of Inanda. So we will still have those few stations within the 30 top stations in terms of the contribution of crime. Then coming to the slide, that has been given to you there, I wanted to explain a few things on this slide. We were very unfortunately in eThekwini district. We have 42 stations. That is the only district in 9 provinces that have got more than necessary stations that are in one, except if they are doing with district in Western Cape, it will be a district known as Metro that will have 66 stations. But other than that, we are the only district that has got 42 stations. In most time, we have 12, 10 stations per district. We were very unfortunately when during July 2021, we were the worst, in fact, were very affected by the looting, the unrest in eThekwini district. That was one thing that hit us very bad. While we're still healing those bleeding wounds, then there was a flooding that had taken the life of 441 people just in this district of eThekwini. And within that, there was the hijacking of the buildings, which also we focus on those things. I must thank Metro Police, the deputy, although he will come to this podium to give Deputy Commissioner Mtunu the support that we have given, and then the members that we have given to us in all these events that we had, especially during the unrest as well as during flooding. And it went further where we had some events within our area. You also come up and assist us. Thank you for that. And other also law enforcement. Coming to the speaker that was here, Mrs. Mbongwa, you have been a backbone of us at the SAPS from Community Safe and Rising, because without you, we wouldn't have survived. When we look at the things that have affected us in terms of the crime, we will see that crimes involving firearms were very unfortunate. I know some people, they make as a joke that we, in one of some of the stations, were number 1 in terms of the contribution on murder cases. It's not a joke. We are trying in our level best. If you can show you some stats in terms of the firearms that have been retrieved in our areas, you will be shocked. It is the same what I have explained, that because of the volume of the cases that we are receiving on daily basis, we are being affected by the volume of murders as well. The organizational crime, we set up some programs, some strategic plans in terms of addressing that, but we are trying in our level best because we have seen now we have 2 national interventions that have come to assist us. When we talk about the white collar crimes, that's where we are being assisted by other units, specialized units like from commercial crime, TPCI, and then also we will see some of the cases are being targeted by the AFU where they are assisting us on taking vehicles from those people who are involved in crime. I was so happy when I heard from the speaker, I think she was Miss Nontantas Kosane, who was talking in terms of the gender-based violence. Those are the things that we monitor on daily basis on these 42 stations. If we have looked at the successes that we have received so far, it shows that if we will keep on this pace with other law enforcement that are assisting us, we will go very far. The violence, as we have seen now, violence related to intergroup conflict. We are also very unfortunate, as I said, now we have the station that we call as heavyweight stations, like Durban Central, Inanda, Sydenham, Verulam, Kwamashu, Umlazi, and there were some other stations also that were joined in terms of the taxi violence. Taxi violence are not caused by the people that are staying within our area. These are the people that are coming from other districts, like Uku district. The vehicles, they are moving as far as equal from Mpangeni, that is King Chechwayo, Mkanyagote, and unfortunately, because we are the city here, now they come here and you find that they are shooting each other within our area. Unfortunately, these cases will be reported in our area. So I think we mustn't think that these people that are involved in the taxi violence are from this area. They are from other districts, but because we receive most of the influx of some people that are coming here, so that's where we have a problem. Vehicle theft and hijacking, I think that is the them that we had an engagement with the mayor the previous time, where we were set up some plans in terms of addressing this, because we want our people, when they come here to visit, especially people coming from other districts and the provinces, they must feel safe, as the mayor has said when we started with this engagement. The corruption will always be there. It's not only the police that are corrupt. I think the speaker that was given, if I'm not mistaken, it was Miss Candace, I cannot remember, but there was somebody who was talking about the corrupt officials. So this thing of corrupt officials, yes, we do have members because we have some rotten apples, potatoes within us. But also when we look at this corrupt, it is a countrywide problem that will need a focus, a direct focus from all the relevant departments. I will not touch much on that because of the time. I will just zoom in on, I think go to page 6. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Where we are, we have now, I have seen some of the pillars that we have shown, Mrs. Mbongwe. Thank you for that. They are supporting us, but in our side, we have 5 pillars that we deal with. These are the pillars: intelligence, gathering, analysis, as well as the coordination. And then we have proactive approach, and then we have combating approach and reactive through detection and approach. And the last one is knowledge building as well as the communication. So these are the pillars that are assisting us in terms of reduction of crime. I will not explain to each of them because of the time, but this operational concept, I think when Major General Matons was giving the Safer City program, so he did mention about all these where we have some OCTA and CTA processes. But in terms of this, we will need engagement from other departments. We cannot work by our own. So we need some people to assist us, like other law enforcement to assist us, especially on gathering the information People, they are afraid to come up to give us information because they are afraid of being attacked or being intimidated. And some of them, when they've reported cases, when the cases are in court, they are not turning up in court to testify because they are afraid of their lives, that they would be killed. So those are the things that are challenges for us in terms of the. Let's move to slide number 9. Sorry, number 11. Number 11. On operational concept of the sector policing, we have engaged beside the CPF that are working with us. I was so happy today that we have so many people that we think we need to engage with when we are dealing with crime. So all the stakeholders and all the government sectors that have come up to give some presentation, we will need your assistance. That if we are all together, we will have that concept of saying we are operationalizing all our sector policing. In sector policing, that is where we're zooming all the areas into a smaller zone so that it can be manageable. So I will not explain in each of that, but that is where we are going. I have discussed with the Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Mkono, in terms of that, how best it will be that every week we have some operations where we engage with other law enforcement and see how best we can. There was a talk about the people that are sitting under the bridge and all those people. I think DSC also is here, these correctional services, they will also roll in so that because most of these people that are there, they are being convicted in court, they are sent to correctional services, they are given parole, but when they are there, you will find that perhaps they are contravening with the parole conditions. So those are the people that we can even find some repeat offenders on those people. Can you move to slide number 13? Okay, I think everybody is reading some newspapers. We have heard about the challenge that we have with the forensic leads and forensic evidence that we have. Slowly, we're moving there because I believe now they are having some suppliers that will work on us. But what is more important in that slide, we are working very, very closely with Metropolis because that is what we call systems utilization. When we talk about PVS, that is where now these people that are secreted, like a person is in Limpopo, is running away from us. As soon as they take his fingerprints or is being arrested, he's going to a certain device. The device will say, this person is wanted by Perea in Durban, is wanted by Mbilo because he's secreted as wanted. So that is a system that will assist us in terms of arresting those people that you are looking for. It is not about the people that you are looking for. Also, the people that also are linked by means of fingerprints that are secreted, that system will assist us. The NPs, I have seen that disaster management, they are assisting us in terms of that. Because when these people are identified there, also we can, besides the photos that we are taking when people are arrested, but they can also assist us. I will not go much on AVL because AVL, I'm not sure whether all the department have got that. That is where you trace, we are locating the vehicles that we have deployed on certain areas to see if they are in that area and the duties that they are performing. The last one, I thought we will have Department of Justice as well as NPA, because it involves the NPA when we talk about Section 205. That is where we apply to the court to have those phones and some other devices to get information from them. So I won't elaborate too much here because if the NPA was here, they will have explained about the problems that they have or any other resolution that they have taken in terms of that. We are appealing to all the departments that are here. Please, I know you are saying you are staying in some of the remote areas. Once we improve the CCTV cameras in all those business sectors, the malls and everybody, it will be a plus point for us in terms of identification of those suspects that you are looking for. The forensic leads, have said before, is that the DNA, it was a challenge, but the head office, I think General Matons will bear with me that they are busy with the suppliers that we will have this thing to fast track it. The fingerprints, we don't have much problem because we do have local fingerprints where we are taking them. DNA and buccal sample, they are working one and the same thing. Let me explain the last one. So for the purpose of the people that are here, they've decided that instead of taking blood, we can still get some information with using the buccal samples. That's why when a person is arrested, we put that thing so that we can have the blood for this person on the database. So that is a good system. Instead of taking blood, then we use that system. So the last one. The last one, sorry, for you. I was thinking I mustn't go far on the challenges. Otherwise, I will confuse the whole house because the challenges that we have is the challenges that have been set, especially when the Honorable Mayor was giving his speech about the stations that have got no resources. We have a shortage of manpower, remote areas, environmental design. All those things are the challenges that we have. If I can say to you, you go to Mlazi, you will see how many places that have got no lights, there's no road, and in the night it's very difficult to penetrate to look for suspects. The houses are not numbered, so it is a challenge to us. I thank you.
Thank you, Brigadier Cele. We now are going to get the second part of the presentation from Deputy Commissioner Mchunu.
Program Director Mnguni, Honorable Mayor, in your absentia, with your office, Major General Matonsi, and your senior officials that we are with here, including the representative of General Keswa in his absentia, all station commanders, 42 of you, and your representatives, regional commanders of Metropolis and all officers of Metropolis present, the HODs present from the province, as well as the senior officials of the municipality. The day, I will be quick because I think we don't have much time left for today. But I think the speakers have spoken a lot in this fight against crime. It's an anti-crime summit and social cohesion. I think because they are linked. I will just touch this part which General Matonsi was speaking to us about with regards to smart policing. But before I go there, I think especially for our stakeholders that are present here, it is important to give a small summary of what Metropolis does and what Metropolis cannot do, so that when we engage each other, we will be able to assist each other. Because there are many of our stakeholders who think we are an alternative to SAPS. We are not. They think if they can't get help from a station, they must then go to Metro as an alternative police service. No. Metropolis is formed in terms of the SAPS Act. So we are just a projection of SAPS. And we have certain specific functions that are given to us by the Constitution and the Act and the regulations. On top of that, there are these three things The establishment is in terms of the SAPS Act, which makes the National Commissioner our operational supervisor. But before you become a metro police, they want you to qualify as a traffic officer so that you are able to enforce the traffic enforcement. And there you are supervised by the Department of Transport under the Minister of Transport. That's why we've got 4 quarterly meetings of both. We sit in the National Road Safety Committee that sits 4 times a year with the Department of Transport and RTMC, where they guide us what we must do in the local authority in terms of the traffic legislations. And then we sit with SAPS 4 times in the nodal point with all the chiefs of the metros. We circulate, we go to Cape Town, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and come here at Durban. Buffalo City is coming, and Bloemfontein is coming. There we get guidances as to how to conduct our main functions, which are 3. Bylaw enforcement in terms of the city, traffic management in terms of the Department of Transport, and crime prevention in terms of the National Commissioner and SAPS. Then you will realize that there are certain elements of crime fighting that are not within our purview. We don't detect crime. We rely on SAPS to do that. We also don't combat crime. However, the regulations allow us to jointly with SAPS to do crime combating. And then there is this requirement which everywhere in the world you need in order to deal with crime. Whether you are preventing it or you are combating it or whatever, is intelligence. And that is the custodian of South African Police Services to collect crime intelligence. So Metropolis is reliant on SAPS in order to move. That's why in the agreements, we've got what we call in the district, the DCCF, District Crime Combating Forum. That requires that we extend and have SCCFs, which is a Station Crime Combating Forum. At the district level, myself and General Keswa, with his brigadiers, Brigadier Cele, Uzuma, Nomaphumulo, we deal with the district matters. And the regional commanders of Metropolis, together with the 42 stations of SAPS, are supposed to sit with SAPS in the SCCF to deal with the station-based crime prevention and crime combating. So now I think we understand where we are. In all these structures, we firstly sit as police and then go to the next level to sit with communities, because it has been repeated, it's a collective responsibility and it requires collaboration. If you look, our colleagues here from correctional services are here. I always differ with the notion that crime is a problem in South Africa because police are not working. That is not true. Prisons are full because of police actions. People don't walk and surrender themselves to the prisons. They are full because of police activities. We're not 100%, there are problems, but the system is working. It just needs to be sustained, contained, and maintained. The time correctional service says we are running short of suspects, and then we see people dying, we see cars being hijacked, and the prisons are not full, then we will have a problem with the police. However, we've got the shortage of resources, human and material resources. Your vehicles, we listened to horrible stories during the imbizos, where have vehicles, where the public will sympathize with the police who are patrolling with a scrap vehicle. Businesses will sometimes all go and repair vehicles for police. Those challenges and all of that. Some of our stations are donated. This is the shortage of resources. So how do we counter that? We need to recruit. But before your recruitment materialize, we don't have time. Crime is here. So we need to maximize the resources that we have. One of the elements of maximizing the resources is technology. Hence, I will then present some few slides here about technology. So, this concept of smart technology came when we realized that the numbers that we have cannot match the responsibilities that are facing us. So what we have, I always tell my bosses that when we are the first metro in the country, by the way, Durban Metropolis is the first metro in the country. When this municipality was pleading with the then Minister of Police, Mr. Charles Ngakula, at the time, to get authority to establish metro, the commitment they put was that by 2010, we will have 5,000 police officers. They made that commitment. And that was in 2000. So the CFO of the council had to produce proof of financial capacity. He produced it. We were given permission to establish metro. Because when you don't have that proof, the National Commissioner will not allow you to produce a metro. So when we produced the metro, we were, however, unable to meet our target. We still have less than 2,000 officers. And it's 2022. You can then understand the deficit that we have in terms of warm bodies. The second part, in terms of the Act, we're supposed to make an annual crime prevention plan. And in that crime prevention plan, the resources are supposed to go to the public. But here is a problem. We find ourselves not having to assist SAPS in crime prevention, but we find ourselves having to assist our own departments regarding protests. Protest actions take a lot of our manpower, which is not in the annual operational plan. All these things that I'm saying show the need to maximize the resources that we have. Hence, we require technology. So, that's the concept we're talking about. Smart policing as a form of evidence management. That's one thing. As the police, we need technology in order to manage evidence. There are so many laws that are there in the country to fight crime, but there is only one vehicle, legislation, that assists the police to take an offender to correctional service. It's Criminal Procedure Act. And Criminal Procedure Act requires a particular method of handling evidence. So these are the elements that require the police. That's why I was happy to see SPP here. Usekhona uba umse and Reddy, Miss Reddy. You will hear from SPP. Because as you are saying, Brigadier, NPA is very, very relevant in terms of this thing, smart policing. Because whatever kind of evidence that we're going to obtain with technology, it needs to be first admissible. You can have all the evidence. If it's not admissible, it's useless. Secondly, it must have a weight. Once you have that evidence and you have followed the procedure to obtain it, it must have weight to convince the judge that the suspect is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. So these are the things that we need to protect when we are using technology to obtain evidence. We must look at the admissibility laws and also the protection of evidence, no interference with evidence, so that it carries weight for the successful conviction. Okay, I've explained this difference between admissibility and the evaluation of evidence. That's what I've summarized. This happens both in private and public law. So it happens even on civil matters as well as on public law. So the strategic objectives that we have regarding the smart policing technologies are the following: is to add tangible value to Metropolis Command Center, thus acting efficiently and productively. The command center that we operate, where we're giving our officers instructions what to do on the ground, needs this kind of technology. We also need to ensure that 3 years after the implementation of these technologies, nobody will be able to commit crime in the city and not find himself caught. It's the second strategic objective. The third strategic objective is to reduce fatal road crashes within the municipality by ensuring that traffic offenders do not escape the law, ranging from traffic fines to going through the red robot, speeding, and so forth and so forth. The fourth strategic objective is to manage our officer activities on a dashboard by a Metro Command Center. Where we want to go to is to be able to make our commanders in the command center to be able to see all Metropolis vehicles that are on duty in the same way you are able to see an Uber when you call an Uber. When you call an Uber on your cell phone, you see various responses, and then you pick the first one that is near you. We want that kind of technology so that the commanders, when we get a complaint, there is housebreaking in whatever address, our commanders in the command center are able to see which nearest Metropolis vehicle is nearby. And then they will communicate with that vehicle immediately to say, go and attend, there is shooting across the road, or there is armed robbery in the nearest business. We also want, as a strategic objective, to be able to charge all institutions that are using our resources extra service, to increase the collection of fines from offenders, thus increasing the city revenue. That is the last strategic objective, and I put it as the last one because they are coming in order of priorities. So smart policing requires these four things. We need a dispatching platform first. We will not be able to put a camera in each and every corner of the city. We won't afford to do that in the next 2 years, 3 years. But businesses, private people, malls, and every other person can afford to put their cameras. All what we need is to have a platform in which we link with them so that they are able to make their visuals available in our command center. So the platform, the dispatching platform, is the first thing. The second thing are the PDAs. Our officers, dash cams in the vehicles, as well as the body cams. That is very important for the safety of officers and also for the backup provision. If the officer is attending a scene and the command center can see what is happening, they are able to employ backup immediately. The third will be the installation of intrusive cameras. That's where now I want to emphasize the privacy laws. We all know that people have a constitutional right to privacy. And once Brigadier was talking about Section 205 requirements, there is a strict procedure as the police that we need to follow in order to invade people's privacy. As the police, we are allowed to invade people's privacy in the pursuit of fighting crime. So the privacy laws, the Constitution allows police to overgo and invade the privacy of citizens in the pursuit of fighting crime. So the cameras that can be installed by police in the hotspots will be able to invade the privacy of individuals, including criminals. Then the third, okay, once you get all this data, I think the video will show you when we go to the video. Once you have all this data, it will help you to be able to trace suspects. I will make an example. We will be able to place your number plate and then get the data as to, with the cameras that are in our circuit, which vehicles have been following you, if those vehicles have been following you. Because when you are traveling and there is this ND, so and so, that always come next to you, the camera, the intelligent camera can pick up that and record that. Every time your vehicle is going, the ND blah, blah, blah vehicle is next to you. That person is following you. That is one of the technology that will be used to analyze and be able to trace suspects. The data that we get out of this technology will also be used to educate communities. Will also be used for community education, what communities need to do to prevent house invasions, to prevent hijackings, to protect themselves. These are the places where this technology is going to be piloted. You see, as I always, DCM, I always have an altercation, a mild altercation with DCM's tone. To say all the time when you're doing investments, you always bring police at the tail end. Okay, Toyota have bought in, they are on board. They are partnering with us and the UIPs in using technology to secure and protect the South Basin area. UIP and Metropolis, we have piloted a project in Ward 101, Ward 28, Ward 27. We're going to pilot these technologies with Microsoft. There is a West Town that has been established. There is Redison Blue in the north. All these major investments in the city by investors, both the leader of Growth Coalition, Mr. Andrew Kipeli, as well as Graham O'Connor, are prepared to put money into the technology that will assist the police to protect these investments in the city. So we are making progress with regards to that, but we need to also play our part by getting what I've listed as ABCD. What I raised earlier to say we spend most time together with SAPS. I understand the mayor, Shame, he always say this thing, to say NIU, POP, together with our POP, they must go and fight crime, okay? The mayor wants that, okay? We will see, I think in the DCCF, Brigadier will see how we deal with that, with about Damane and Major. How can we operationalize that? Because the mayor says that in principle as a political head, we need then to devise a strategy of how to operationalize that. But what in the city we have done is to say, okay, I'll explain this method. For Metropolis expenses, we get budget from the ratepayers. We don't make profit. We get budget from the ratepayers. So any money that we get will mean the increase on the rates. However, there are departments within the municipality that sell their services, like water, electricity, and other units. Those units are the ones who are a cause for protests. We have agreed with their DCM and their chairperson that they're going to provide budget for police, both SAPS and Metropolis, to respond to their protests. All what they need to do is to put technology into their depots, into their vehicles, and that technology must report to our command center. So that if their plumbers are going out there and they get trouble from business forums and all of that, we are able to see and respond, and then use the evidence in order to get convictions. Because what the business forum people have mastered, the crime of intimidation needs the person to be intimidated. All what they do is to threaten the complainant. The court can't convict if nobody was intimidated by the actions. All what they do, they threaten the complainant so that the complainant will not continue to write statements. But they cannot threaten a camera. They cannot threaten technology. So if we put that kind of technology to gather evidence, we will be able to successfully convict the business forum people who are abusing most of us. So this is one example of a depot of water where we are saying, because they can make money and make profit, let them invest in technology that is going to assist the police. Electricity, these are the things that they need to install. ETA, they even have grants. It's one of the very rich departments in the municipality. They have GoDepen. And for their GoDepen to move, it needs police. And we don't have manpower to man their GoDepen. But if they put technology in their infrastructure and their technology reports to our command center, we will be able to police them and to police their infrastructure. For our own sake, criminals are targeting members of SAPS and Metro Police for firearms. The case Brigadier we were talking about, our member was targeted and was shot and they took a firearm. Many of our members are targeted and shot for the purposes of getting a firearm. Once we put the tracking system in our firearms so that we track the firearm the moment it's taken out of the holster and the moment it's taken out of the safe, and for 48 hours when it has been taken, we will be able to reduce these, we will be able to deal with the modus operandi of criminals that target our members. Okay, we will use this in order to enhance our technology. These are the body cams and the dash cams. This is license recognition plates, where if an intelligent camera sees a motor vehicle that is supposed to be red because of the license plate, if that contradicts, it reports something is wrong with that vehicle and it informs the command center. The command center dispatches an officer to deal with that. If a vehicle is stolen, we'll be able to see it at the moment it passes any of our cameras in our highways. Handheld, that is for the tickets and the fines. No one will escape a fine because there are no errors here. No wrong number plates, no corruption. An officer cannot negotiate. The moment it puts your ID number, the command center is recording the fine. So it's not going to be cancelled. It's not going to be made defective. Okay, the drones, part of the technology. The mobile station, we can't be able, the councillors, they always say when they meet me, put a satellite station. There are certain guidelines for even that satellite station. Safety first for officer. We can't just put a station and we only have 2 officers. They are not safe. So what we can do is to have a mobile station in a format like that and then go to where there is crime, stabilize crime, normalize crime, and then move to another area. With one station, so we can buy and have 4 satellite stations that can be able to service the entire municipality following the crime movements. That's what will be in the station. That is for session rate. We learned a lot during floods, how much is required by our communities. We were having a nightmare. Every politician's phoning, thinking that search and rescue can just fly and go wherever they need them. and it was impossible. But with the mobile kind of search and rescue, we'll be able to meet them halfway.
Babumchunu,
Yes, sir.
I've given you more than 30 minutes already.
No, sesiyaqeda lang, sengiqedile. This is a summary of this technology. Guys, I'm not going to talk now. It's going to talk for itself. Hey, where are we now?
I think I'm having an overdose and so is my wife. I don't know.
999, where is your emergency?
Wisteria Lane.
Okay, what's going on?
I was just parking on the street when a man came out with a dagger, ordering me to get out. And then he got into my car and drove away.
Okay, tell me the model. The
As
color,
it's
and your
getting
license
reported,
number.
Silver.
the command center can see what is happening on scene.
6Y3Y330.
Okay, tell me your name.
Carlos Solis.
Okay, we are dispatching somebody to your site while starting chasing.
This is the final location of the vehicle, informing all nearby police forces to hunt and intercept.
The details of a vehicle suspected is put in the system, and all gadgets are activated. All officers can see the message.
Play the CCTV in the intersection within the circle.
An informed officer confirms
I found the possible
on the suspect
the car and running.
and realize this is the suspect.
Running. Westward. Call for support.
All units attention. The suspect has abandoned the car and is running now in Emerson Avenue towards the intersection of HQ Avenue. Go, go, go.
Search for the suspect's information.
Suspect's details are taken and interpreted. Back at the command center,
Criminal record.
information is given to
Launch a
the
video
hostage
conference with the
negotiator.
negotiator.
He should be a first offender out of impulse. Please.
The
let
analyst
police officers
analyzes and
stay
profiles the
calm
suspect.
to provoke him to avoid unnecessary casualties. Meantime, please get his families on the scene.
Informs the officers that this is not a harmful suspect. He's a first. He has got no previous offenses. Then this is just one mild example. We can have various examples that we can put them in this format of technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is now going to be the last presentation of the day, done by Mr. Ibrahim Vadesha, Chairman of UIP Company. Can I recognize is there Mr. Stembiso Madlala? Mr. Vadesha can move forward while Mr. Stembiso Madlala, are you here? I think he may have left. He may have left. I wanted to recognize him as KZN Tourism Chairperson. He's recognized. He was here.
Okay.
And the CPFs, can I just say by hands?
I'm putting this on.
The CPFs are here.
PowerPoint, so I don't need that.
Thank you. You are also recognized. Over to you, Mr. Vadesha. 5 minutes, unlike the Deputy Commissioner. Took 45.
Program Director, heads of departments, generals, Deputy Commissioner, members of the law enforcement, local councillors, all protocols observed. My name is Ibrahim Badachia, and I am the chairperson of the Urban Improvements Precinct in Durban. I'm just going to run through a very quick presentation because it covers a bit of the neighborhood watch and what they actually do, as well as what the UIP company does insofar as partnering with all the departments, line departments, the municipality, law enforcement, safer cities, disaster management, and just about any department in the municipality, not only to fight crime, but to uplift the lives of our community, our people, and try and formulate and establish best practices to turn the fortunes of our city and our people around. In doing so, we have to engage with the private sector, and this is the go-between that the UIP fosters closer working relationships with the private sector, because everything that we do and everything that the Deputy Commissioner just showed us on that presentation of his costs a fortune. And as we all know, the city is cash-strapped currently, and it behooves us to engage with just about every possible private sector business and entity insofar as bringing them to the table and trying to get them to help us finance these initiatives. So I'm going to begin with the presentation as I speak, and just stay with me. I'm not going to be long. There you go. Okay. To begin with, the UIP company is apolitical and it's a non-profit organization. It is established primarily in geographically defined areas to deliver supplementary public services which improve social, environmental, and economic conditions. Our success is underscored by the many milestones we have achieved since our inception in July 2000. Okay, our vision is to facilitate the formation of connected, informed, and empowered communities in which people feel safe and secure. Our mission is to be a vibrant, inclusive, and effective organization that improves the safety and security of community life across KZN. We do this by supporting our members and partners in promoting crime prevention, resilient communities, and social inclusion. Our values, we have a passion, and we use that passion and drive and commitment to energize, engage, and inspire others. Our integrity, we are consistently open, honest, ethical, and genuine, building trust in our brand, our organization, and our people. Respect, we recognize that a strong, resilient, and peaceful society celebrates and encourages diversity of experience, culture, beliefs, language, gender, and age. Our objectives: to minimize the incidence of preventable crime, to deter criminal activity by increasing the probability of apprehension, to reduce the fear of crime, increase the reporting of crime and suspicious behavior, improve the degree of personal and household security through education, and expand the program's involvement in wider community safety and crime prevention initiatives. Our purpose: we provide strategic leadership to affiliated UIPs and neighborhood watch groups in KZN by firstly strengthening the partnership of police and community, working together to prevent crime and improve the safety, security, and quality of life for all in KZN. We coordinate the UIP and neighborhood watch programs via information sharing between groups throughout KZN. identifying and developing best practice, evidence-based crime prevention responses to ultimately encourage community participation in building safe and confident communities. Improving community awareness, participation, vigilance, and reporting suspicious behavior. Now I'm going to move on into what the UIP actually does. We partner with the eThekwini municipality to optimize service delivery. We help create vibrant, inclusive urban environments which secure property values and encourage investment while improving the quality of life, uniting property owners around a common vision for their respective precincts. What we do, we provide a comprehensive range of urban management solutions and drive inner city regeneration by retaining existing investment and rebuilding investor confidence. Through placemaking, inhibiting the incidence of crime and grime, and general maintenance, we support economic growth and enhance environmental sustainability. What you see here is the 4 precincts that we currently have in the inner city. The blue one on the beachfront being the South Beach precinct, the green one being the Northeast Business Precinct, where we are currently meeting. The red one, which is the cultural precinct in and around the City Hall and the Playhouse area going down to the Esplanade. And that orange one, which is a section of the CBD that is a part of our CBD precinct. An overview, we perform particular services that local governments may be unable or unwilling to provide, usually because of inadequate annual budgets. And our activities are diverse, and we seek to bring about desirable improvements to benefit the town, the city, or the country as a whole. And improvements can range from something simply cosmetic to significantly transformative. And it is our core value that we try and keep a clean, safe, attractive, and welcoming city. Housekeeping, these are our private sort of cleaning teams that, in addition to cleaning the inner city, they are responsible for reporting potholes, malfunctioning streetlights, traffic signals, damaged pavements, and basically any municipal infrastructure that is either damaged or missing that needs to be repaired. And we also optimize service levels for the municipality by lobbying for investment in infrastructure, and we conduct daily audits of all infrastructure faults, and we log that with the Fusion Center for quick response. Insofar as public safety goes, we provide enhanced public safety with increased visibility of our guys in blue there, as you all can see. And that in conjunction with law enforcement being SAPS and Metro, as well as local private security, is an effective deterrent. And our proactive approach to safety and security in our precinct focuses on identifying possible criminal intent and taking preventive action before a crime can occur. In addition, we have a control room and a monitoring team that operates 24/7. And currently, we have more than 200 cameras around the city that is linked to a disaster management control center where we have our own people helping out in the control room as well. We are ably supported by rapid response security teams, Metro Police, SAPS, and with whom we maintain strong relationships. Enhanced hospitality teams, especially active in the festive season like the one that's forthcoming, where we meet and greet visitors, make them feel welcome, give them directions, and of course, take care of separated children until they are reunited with their family. Aesthetic enhancement, this is the cultural precinct that I spoke to you about early, that we support and promote the civic arts and crafts installation in public spaces. and to keep the patrons that come in safe from mugging and, of course, any other form of crime because of the late night performances. Enhance identity, of course, in the sense that we improve the awareness of the business sector locally and regionally. We can help rebrand or brand a district to impart a new, vibrant, more welcoming and positive identity. Corridors of Excellence, this is again in conjunction with the municipality and the ICC, the International Convention Center that we are at. And recently we had the African Travel Indaba and the 5th Global Conference. And we deployed some 128 additional tourism monitors, one of whom you can see in the photograph there that's taking a photograph of a foreign delegate. And for the first time in 10 years, there wasn't a single untoward incident recorded or reported. And given our close ties with Safer Cities, Durban Tourism, the hospitality industry, and the convention center, we plan to make this deployment a permanent fixture for future conferences. Sorry, my bad. Okay, this is just some of the things that we had to put up with in the July 21 unrest. This is a picture of a shop in West Street, and you all may recall that the cleaning crew of the municipality was on strike for fear of their personal safety as well. And it was up to us, and surprisingly, the only other people that came in to help clean up were the taxi industry. And they were, of course, there to back us up and support us. And this is just one indication of what we are up against. More of West Street, as you can see, there's a metro vehicle standing down there along with SAPs to protect us and our workers as we did the cleanup. And this was the case, I think it was in the newspapers as well, you all might be aware of it, where the woman was trapped in the building that was on fire, and there she was throwing her child down to onlookers who were ready to catch them. Incidentally, during that period, we had, I think it was a few days really that it went down, we had no fewer than 61 interventions by the fire department, who we also work very closely with. We had to deploy private security backup teams to protect the people that were working. And finally, when Durban Solid Waste and municipal teams got in, there were still threats made by the people that were looting what was left in the shops. And here's our backup team. Of course, we work very closely with Metro Police, and we thank them for having supported us so well. Now, what you are looking at is we had cleaned up the whole section of West Street, and we had put the bags together to have them uplifted by DSW. Unfortunately, the crowds got hold of it, and they trashed the entire place, leading us to have to clean it up again. Eventually, when DSW came, we had a whole lot of cleaning up to do, and we were supporting them ably in that regard. And this is our team, the UIP team that went out with Metro to the areas to collect the stolen and looted goods that we could find. As you can see, there were a whole lot of bicycles in this case that were recovered. And we also work very closely with them insofar as all the furniture, you can see beds and mattresses that we had to bring back to the pound to log it, store it, and take care of that until such time that it was either disposed of or whatever happened to that with the authorities. We had to bring down rigs with bread. As you all know, there was no food to be had, no bread to be had. And these rigs came down with thousands of loaves of bread from Gauteng. And we were supporting the initiative together with our NGOs insofar as distributing food. We also had to distribute hampers to schools and creches because there were a lot of hungry people out there, and even though they might have had the money, they didn't have the ability to purchase anything. We continue to run together with Safer Cities, UIP feeding the homeless and the destitute. This is a drop-in center we have on the Esplanade that feeds people daily, and that number is growing. There's also a hamper distribution after the floods of April, May 22. And I'll dwell a little bit on this. These are our projects. The top left, Yes for Youth. Those are our interns that we took, previously unemployed, as part of the President's job creation project. And we are proud to say that some 3 years down the road, more than 80% of them are still with us, employed by us, and making good progress insofar as their careers go. The center slide on top is placemaking. Incidentally, I'm also the chairperson of Place Management KZN. It is an association of 38 UIPs, neighborhood watchers, and aspiring UIPs. And what we find insofar as best practice goes, we can replicate across KZN via that group of people. On the top right, you'll see we have special skills training and job creation projects. Bottom left, there's graffiti removal teams that go around town. But the sad thing is, no sooner do we clean it, it's on again. And we just got to keep at it until such time that we catch the culprits and manage to clean the city up. NGO and NPO collaboration. We work very closely with Mr. Vincent Ngubane and his assistant, Mr. Moshe. And together with more than 30 NGOs, we provide either clothing, foodstuff, and other support insofar as any need that arises in case of a disaster. On the bottom right, you'll see our precinct ambassadors that patrol the promenade in order to keep, forgive me, to keep the tourists and the people that visit the beachfront safe. Okay, top left, you'll see our integrated operations that is run daily, 24/7, in the inner city, and the second one that has been introduced in the suburbs, together with Metro Police, DSW, to clean up all the areas that are either full of litter or reeking with whatever stench you can find. The center top illegal hawkers that are selling anything from liquor or anything that is illegal or operating without a permit to do so. That's the control room on the left that has grown considerably with time. And we are currently installing a further 43 cameras in Prospecton together with Toyota South Africa. And once that is done, hopefully by the weekend, everything goes live. Then we have spoken to the city manager, who has approved it in principle and just needs to sign off on it, for the introduction of a network from the Amgeni River right down to the harbor mouth. And that will consist of 40 cameras. And all this is linked back to Fusion Center. It is shared with law enforcement agencies, so much so that the response can be almost instantaneous. Bottom left, that's me. I used to be part of the Durban Chamber's Safety and Justice Forum. I am still very much engaged with them, but not on an official basis, simply because the demands on my time are far too much. In the center bottom, we feed the homeless, as we alluded to earlier. And disaster management collaboration, that again is when there are issues with either floods or informal settlement fires and stuff like that. Okay, before I sign off, the thing is, I thank all the law enforcement personnel and agencies. I know, and I usually get a lot of flack when I stand up for them, both for Metro, both for the SAPs as well. But if we are to honor this commitment that's behind me over here by 2030, then it behooves us as individuals, as citizens, and every other body to engage with the private sector. And I would, Program Director, how shall I say, ask for more cooperation and engagement with us. As you can see, we do a whole scope, because it's a holistic thing that we want to take care of our people. We want to uplift their quality of life, as well as change the fortunes of the city. And Apart from that, we'll do our best. We will engage with anyone. We maintain an open door policy, and we'd like to work closely together to make this thing happen. So thank you so much for everything. And at the bottom, you see those are just some of our many partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the presentation from Mr. Ibrahim Vadesha, Chairman of UIP Company. Like I promised you, it's 16:32, and I'm glad that the majority of you were able to accept the request from me to at least take it to 16:32. I'm not here to ask you to stay longer. I'm here to request that we change the program. Instead of continuing with the commissions or the breakaways. There are 4 breakaways, as you can see on page 2. I'm here to request that we use the time when the mayor is going to go and open a police station at Inanda, that we start here. We start on time at 8 or 8:30 maximum at earliest, that maybe you start with tea at 8 and 8:30 you start with commissions. So that when he returns from opening the police station, at least you've had an hour of discussions, and it will cover what we should have done this afternoon. And they are able to interact until that time. Is that acceptable? If it is acceptable, I'll request Mrs. Shembe. I hope you'll come. Singafiki sota ngo-8. Abantu bangafiki bafike ngo-9, because it would help to come here at 8:30, so that at least we know that we'll have an hour. Mrs. Shembe, please come and explain how the commissions will work and who will lead to each commission. While we are doing it, Mr. Klaba must come closer as well, so that he would give the final word for the day, as indicated on the program. I think it gives a vote of thanks today. Okay. I suspect that he was going to give a vote of thanks if there were commissions.